respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. We just like desire trees that fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion to love all of the conditioned souls. Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jayo Radha Madhova Kunja Bihari Ramadhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhova Kunja Bihari Gopi Janamalabha Girivardhagute Gopi Janamalabha Girivardhagute Yasuranandana Prajajana Ranjana Yasuranandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Vanachagute Yamuna Chera Vanachagute Jayaranu Madhava Kunja Bihagute Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihagute Gopi Jana Bala Ba Girivardhare Gopi Jana Bala Ba Girivardhare Yasudanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yasudanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamuna Chera Vanachagute Yamuna Chera Vanachagute Jayo Ranu Madhuva Kunja Bihagute Jaya Radho Madhuva Kunna Bhakti Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Jaya also Tada Satashi Shrimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anandakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Shaima Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Machuradam Ki Jai Jagadasami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Srimati Lasadevi Ki Jai Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Samaniti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pachari Nivashesha. Shunyavadi Pashtacha Desha Tarini Prabhupada Ki Jai. So before starting questions, I just want to mention briefly, it's the Makara Sankranti today, which is a very important day. It's like, almost like the beginning, not quite of spring, but the beginning of spring for people in India, and it's a special day. They fly kites on the Makara Sankranti, because usually there's a lot of wind on this day. And then also it's the Ganga Mela, Ganga Sagara Mela. Mahamela, and there's about 5 million people who go to it every year. And it's at the, where the Ganges sort of enters into the ocean. So it's second largest festival compared to the Mahakumbh Mela. Yeah, that's happening at the same time. So it's, India has the largest spiritual functions of anywhere in the world. Mm. Well, largest doesn't mean better, but it's still largest. Anyway, okay, so we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 59th chapter, texts 2 to 3. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Shukovacha Indrena Vrita Chatrena Vrita Kundala Bandhuna Vrita Maradri Stanena Gyapito Boma Cheshtatam Shishagovacha Indrena Ritachatrena Ritachatrena Ritakundala Bandhuna Ritamaradri Stanena Yapito Boma Cheshtatam Shishugovacha Indrena Rita Chatrena Rita Kundala Bandhuna Ritamaradri Stanena Yapito Boma Cheshtitam Shishu Vacha Idrena Rita Chatrina Rita Kundala Banduna Rita Maradri Stanena Yapito Boma Cheshtitam Cheshtitam All right, I'll just read the rest of the verses. Saparyo Guru Taruda Prajyotisha Puram Yayav Giri Durga Shastra Durgar Jalagyanila Durgamam Murapashayutar Gorar Dridai Sarvatrahavitam. So you can repeat. Shri Shaguru Vacha Shukadeva Goswami said, Indrana, by Lord Indra, Ritachatrena, who had suffered the theft of Varuna's umbrella, Ritakundala, the theft of the earrings, Bandhuna, of his relative, his mother Aditi, Rita, and the theft, Amaradri, on the mountain of the demigods Mandura, Stanena, of the special location, the recreational area at its peak known as Mani Parvata. That means the jeweled mountain, basically. Yapata, informed. Boma Cheshtitam, of the activities of Boma. Sa, together with. Varya, his wife Satyabhama. Garuda Aruda, riding on the giant bird Garuda. Prajyotishapuram, to the city of Pragjyotishapura, Boma's capital, still existing today as Tejapur in Assam. Yayao, he went. Giri, consisting of mountains. Durgai, by fortifications. Shastra, consisting of weapons. Durgai, by fortifications. Jala, of water. Agni, fire, Anila, and wind, Durgamam, made inaccessible by fortifications, Murapasha, by a dangerous wall of cables. So that means electricity. Ayutai, tens of thousands. Gorai, fearsome. Dridai, and strong. Sarvata, on all sides. Avritam, surrounded. So translation, Shukadev Goswami said, after Boma had stolen the earrings belonging to Indra's mother, along with Varuna's umbrella and the demigod's playground at the peak of Mandara mountain, Indra went to Lord Krishna and informed him of these misdeeds. The Lord, taking his wife Satyabhama with him, then rode on Garuda to Prag Yotishapura, which was surrounded on all sides by fortifications consisting of hills, unmanned weapons. Well, autonomous weapons. See? We haven't made any advancement since then. Water. That's interesting. Nowadays they brag about how, using AI, can have these autonomous weapons. So water, fire, and wind, and by obstructions of Mura Pasha wire. So we're not going to repeat since it's a long verse. So, purport by the followers of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Acharyas have explained in various plausible ways why Lord Krishna took his wife Satyabhama with him. Srila Siddhara Swami begins by saying that the Lord wanted to give his adventurous wife a novel experience, and thus took her to the scene of this extraordinary battle. Also, Lord Krishna had once granted the blessing to Bhumi, the earth goddess, that he would not kill her demoniac son without her permission. Since Bhumi is an expansion of Satyabhama, the latter could authorize Krishna to do the needful with the unusually nasty Bhaumasura. Finally, Satyabhama had been miffed. For those of you who don't understand what that means, she was upset and envious. When Narada Muni brought a celestial parijata flower to Queen Rukmini to pacify Satyabhama, Lord Krishna had promised her, I'll give you a whole tree of these flowers. And thus the Lord scheduled this procurement of a heavenly tree within his itinerary. Even nowadays, devoted husbands take their wives shopping. What an example. And thus Lord Krishna took Satyabhama to the heavenly planets to get a heavenly tree, as well as to retrieve the goods Bhaumasura had stolen and return them to the rightful owner. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti notes that in the heat of battle, Queen Satyabhama would naturally become anxious for Lord Krishna's safety and pray for the battle to end. Thus, she would readily give permission to Krishna to kill the son of her expansion, Bhumi. So, the commentaries are quite extensive commentaries here. So, Vishwanath, I'm just going to skip over part that's repetitive. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states the umbrella actually belonged to Varuna. But because of Indra's superior position among the Devatas, the verse mentioned that it was stolen from Indra. Being informed about the activities of Boma by Indra, whose umbrella, mother's earrings, and jewel mountain were stolen, Krishna went to Bhaumasura's city with his wife, Satyabhama. And see, the second paragraph here is pretty much what was stated in the purport. And the third paragraph, anyway, we could read because he uses a little bit different word here. Satyabhama became angry, not just miffed, became angry when Narada brought a parijata flower for Rukmini. Krishna then promised her that he would bring her a whole tree of parijata. He therefore brought her along to show her his capacity to take the tree from Indra. So in other words, there was another thing there, that Krishna was showing his heroism to his wife. You know, men like to do that to their wives, to appear to be like a big hero, protecting their wives, maintaining their wives, and it's just part of the male psychology. At least it used to be part of the male psychology. So, and then Jiva Goswami states, it's a little bit different here, it should be understood that Indra went to Dwarka and informed Krishna. Vishnu Purana says, Dvaravatyam site Krishna shakrastri bhuvaneshvara ajat kamatamaitreya amadhairavata prishtaka. Indra, lord of the three worlds, mounted on intoxicated Airavata, came to Dwarka where Krishna was staying. Also, Boma had also stolen the mountain, playground of the Devatas, Mandara mountain with his jeweled peak. That's his Mani Parvata. So also it's described in the Vishnu Purana. This is the same story from the Vishnu Purana. I guess we could read the Sanskrit. Bomayam narakonam pratikyosa pareshvara karoti sarvabhutanam upagatam arindama devasiddha suradinam ripanam cha janardana ritvatu so surakanya niruda nijamandre chatram yat salila shavi ujahara pachestasa mandarasya tata shrinkam ritavan mani parvatam amrita shravani divyeman matu Krishna kundale jahara so surodhya vanchayat yaravatam gajam. Boma, also called Naraka, the controller of Pratik Josha, is disturbing all living beings. The Devatas, Siddhas, sages, and kings, O Lord, he has kidnapped young women and locked them in his palace. He has stolen Varuna's umbrella, which flows with water. He has stolen the jeweled peak of Mandara. The demon stole my mother's Aditi's shining earrings, which flow with nectar. He desires my elephant, Airavata. This is Indra speaking to Krishna. He made his request while offering respects on the ground. This is understood from verse 41. Garuda arrived just by calling him in his mind, or he was in the vicinity ready to serve. Krishna mounted Garuda with his wife, since she wanted to see the excitement of retrieving the goods, and he wanted to present her with a Parijata tree. Having her accompany him also indicates disregard for Boma's ferocity. She will go with me to the battle and then desire the Parijata tree, which I will bring back. In other words, Krishna, he wasn't worried about protecting his wife at that particular junction. You know, this is just an easy job. So she's not going to be in danger. I will derive pleasure when Rukmini desires it. She will go with me. Not Rukmini. We want Rukmini afterwards. It is not that I desire to fight with Boma. This is how he felt in all the battles with demons. Indra returned to his city. And then, I'm not going to read the Sanskrit since time is short. Mounting Airavata, Indra returned to Swarga. Krishna went to Boma's city while the people of Dwarka watched. The wind defense was a strong wind whirling around like a potter's wheel. The various obstacles are here described as the Lord came to them. The order in which he pierced them is described later. The fortress of weapons consists of weapons used by obstacles not held by warriors, which on being touched produced injuries on the body. That's autonomous. They were terrible, Gorai, because they were sharp. Vishnu Purana describes the city. The city was 100 yojanas in length and breadth. 100 yojanas. A yojana is 8 miles. That's 800 miles. Got it? Piled with sharp ropes of the Mura demon. The word Muravai comes from Mura, just as Sokara comes from Sukara. The ropes were difficult to cut. So, anyway. So, Om Gana Timidanda Shah Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshur Unmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So what I wanted to talk about was the subject of Boma Sura being Krishna's son. So, of course, that was touched upon yesterday, that, not really all the details. The Bhaumasura was Krishna's son and Bhumi's son, because when Krishna lifted up the earth planet, which is Bhumi, with his tusks in the form of Lord Varaha, he impregnated the earth. And of course, there's a famous verse, which I often quote, which we sing every morning, Angani Yasha Shakalan Driyadri Timanti, that the Lord has interchangeable senses. He can do anything with any one of his senses. See with his nose. He can hear with his nose. I mean, it's just incredible, because his body is completely what? Satchidananda Vigraha. Ishwara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Adir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karnam. But what I actually wanted to speak about is that we have a tendency in this world to attribute someone who has a genealogical relationship to someone else as being, let's say, or having the same qualities, or being qualified in the same way. And of course, that's typified in India with this hereditary Brahminical status, which is sometimes called the caste system. That someone is considered to be a Brahmin or a Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, according to their family. And of course, this is exactly the opposite of what Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita, the famous verse, Chaturvarna Maya Shushtam, Hare Krishna. Guna karma vibhagasha. Someone is known to be a particular situation, particular varna, according to his qualities and work. So you may say, how is this applicable to this particular class or for this particular discussion? I'm going to refer to something I've been reading recently. Really interesting work I've been reading recently. It's called the Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhava. And I've been reading part 3, which is a wonderful book that's published by my godbrother Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, about the teachings and life of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, wrong page. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur devoted a lot of time to dealing with what we call upper sampradayas. Upper sampradayas, so let me describe. Let me just read one of his pranam mantras, which is really indicative of this. It's Namaste, Gauravani, Shimurti Dini Tarani, Rupanuga Virudapa, Siddhanta Dvanta, Harane. Namaste, in other words, I offer my obeisances unto you, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gauravani. So he's teaching the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's Gauravani, like we have Vani and Vapu, Gauravani Pacharni. And then he is dealing with things that are opposed, that is, apasiddhantas that are opposed to Rupanuga's teaching, because we are followers of Rupa Goswami. We're called Rupanugas. And so, very, very important. He spent a lot of time, and these apasiddhantas are like, basically, they're hereditary arrangements. Siddhanta, apasiddhanta, they're based upon hereditary so-called paramparas. You understand? Just like we have a parampara, right? So, as Krishna describes in the Gita, Evam parampara praptam imam rajashayo viduhu. He says, this knowledge which I taught to Vivaswan, Manu, Ikshvaku, was passed down in the chain of disciplic succession, but then he says, Yoganashta. What does that mean? It means it was broken. So in other words, at a certain point, one might have described themselves as being a member of this sampradaya coming down from the Bhagavad Gita. There's actually many different like sub-sampradayas. That's one of the sub-sampradayas. Of course, we know the four main sampradayas, the Brahma sampradaya, Ruja sampradaya, Lakshmi sampradaya, Kumara sampradaya. But within these, there are actually like different branches. You know, it's not that every acharya is mentioned or every branch is mentioned. We hear the main personalities mentioned. So anyway, so this particular sampradaya of the Gita that came down from the sun god, Vivaswan, was broken. So after that point, one could call himself a member of the sampradaya, but it wasn't a sampradaya anymore. It was broken. It's interesting, isn't it? So we have these, what's described as these hereditary sampradayas that are teaching oppositanta, and there's basically 13 main ones which he goes over, and I'm not going to go over all of them because that would be a lengthy discussion. But ones that really influence ISKCON devotees more than anything else are two. The Smarta Brahmana Sampradaya, Upasampradaya, which my dear friend commented, wrote a whole book about it, anyway, how Smartas destroy Krishna consciousness, anyway. Kontiya Prabhu. You may have read that book by Kontiya. Yeah, it's a great book. Anyone's interested, I can send it to you through email. So, you know, real great book. The Smarta Sampradaya, and then also Goshai Sampradaya. What do you mean by Goshai? I'll explain what I mean. Which is actually based on two things, Vamsa and Parivars. So some of you may have heard this, and I get questions about this all the time from my from disciples and from friends. Like, they ask me, what parivar are we members of? You ever heard that before? Actually, the word parivar means connected to a family. And Vamsa is also a family, like Hari Vamsa means like Krishna's family. So this is really interesting. So, we have many of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's associates who had children. Of course, Nityananda, Lord Nityananda, didn't have any children. He had a child, he had a child, but his Virchandra didn't have any children. But, so his followers have their families, and their families had children, and those children had children, and those children are considered to be like part of the Vamsa, or family, of Nityananda, that Nityananda Vamsa. And those who are initiated by those children, or those who are part of that disciplic succession, initiated by those who are initiated by, are called parivars, in the parivar. Really interesting terminology, because I get asked this all the time. And so many of them, and it's not that they're all unbona fide, that's not my point. Many of them claim to have exclusive right. You know, there's Janavamata Parivar, there's Nityananda Vamsa, there's many, Advaita Vamsa, they claim to have an exclusive right, even though in many cases one can see that they're not following strictly, and even in many cases there is, let us say, not only defects in the sadhana, but in many cases you actually find they're eating fish. Like it's many of the, this is mentioned in this book, I was quite shocked to hear this, that you have the Goswamis who actually became the proprietors of the temples in Vrindavan, many of the temples in Vrindavan, many of the temples in Mathura, and also some in Jaipur. The Goswamis actually, some of them were even eating fish. And of course there's that famous story where, and I forget the name of the Goswami, where Prabhupada and Guru Das, they were taking prasadam at one temple, and the Goswami, he was so strict in his, because the Goswami was part of one of the descendants of the original Goswami family that was initiated by one of the 6 Goswamis. Actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that this term or title or family name Goswami should never be used by a Grahastha. He was really adamant. Of course, sometimes he had social dealings with different Goswamis who were favorable to the Gaudiya Math. So he didn't harp on it all the time, but to his followers he said this name should never be used. So anyway, so Prabhupada and Guru Das, they were sitting and taking prasadam, and he mentions that this Goswami would not eat with them because they were a lower caste. And so as they were taking prasadam, this particular descendant, he tried to hide behind a door. Maybe you've heard this story before, because he wanted to smoke a bidi. You've heard the story. Some of you have heard the story. And he didn't want to be seen. And, it's real. There's a story is described in a very humorous way, because he had these big, big glasses on that, with really thick glasses. Before they had plastic lenses, it was like that. And so he looked up, that is, Guru Das looked up, and he started laughing. And, this Goswami was trying to hide that. Now, this is not to criticize all the Goswamis. Like the Goswamis at the Radharaman temple are actually quite strict in their Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada said we could study the deity worship at the Radharaman temple if we want to see a very high standard of deity worship. However, there's someone in the hereditary line considering himself better than, the Vaishnavas who were initiated by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and not acting properly, but still thinking himself superior because of that particular hereditary connection. And so, in other words, I'm not going to go further in this. So the point is, one has to really consider someone's qualities rather than their genealogical connection or even their initiation connection. Just like for myself, I can declare myself I'm initiated by Prabhupada. Actually, Prabhupada was really strict about this. I don't know if I should mention this in class, but I'll mention it anyway. I always say that before mentioning something. Prabhupada was talking to one devotee who had a beard. And Prabhupada basically was indicating, this is Los Angeles in 1970. I was there at the time, so I know what happened. And it's recorded, it's in the database. And Prabhupada, Prabhupada said, you're not my disciple if you have a beard. It's heavy. Prabhupada was so strict about that. And there's several quotes like that. So anyway, I'm not going to get into beards, which I already did. So, but to actually be a disciple is not just to have formal initiation. And to actually be a son or a family member of an acharya simply doesn't mean that one has the same genes. That's called genealogical. I mean, for example, not only in the case of Bhaumasura here, but we see other descendants or sons of Krishna acting improperly, or being bogus. What comes to mind, what first comes to mind is Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya had 6 sons. And 3 of them he considered not to be his sons. Why did he consider them not to be his sons? Because they did not accept the path of Krishna consciousness. So you have that instance. And then in other times, in the Bhagavatam we have the story of one of Krishna's sons acting improperly because of his pride. That was Samba. Now, it's not that Samba was not a devotee or not good or anything like that, but because of pride, the relatives of the Lord, these young boys, went to the sages, and they thought that they teased the sages. How was the teasing going on? They dressed up Samba like a girl, and they put some pillows so it appeared to be that she was, or he was, pregnant. And they said to the sages, is this going to be a boy or a girl, the child? And the sages got so angry that they cursed the whole Yadu dynasty. And one of the reasons that Krishna got rid of the Yadu dynasty, after he decided that his mission was finished, because being relatives of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they would be too proud. Really interesting phenomena. So here in this story, we're talking about Bhaumasura. And Bhaumasura is a relative or son of Krishna. But Krishna is acting equally, seeing qualities. As Krishna says in the Gita, what is it? Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dvesho stina priyaha. What does that mean? I am equal, samoham sarva bhuteshu, to all living entities, and no one is especially dear to me. So, someone like me may think, well, I'm Prabhupada's disciple, I got some special mercy. No. And because we all got the special mercy. But it's not any more special than anyone else. It's not. It depends on me. I can't just wave the flag of I'm Prabhupada's disciple. It doesn't mean anything. Because unless I follow Prabhupada, but then everybody can be, maybe not initiated by Prabhupada, but everybody can be essentially, in essence, Prabhupada's disciple. If we agree to follow, if we agree to take up the mission of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. That's the point. So, family connection, parivar connection. You could say, I'm in Prabhupada's parivar. It doesn't compute. Like I said, people ask me that question all the time. What parivar are you? And many of these parivars are. Anyway, we don't identify ourselves like that. We identify ourselves as a Chuta Gotra. Prabhupada said that when we go to the temple, if they ask us, what Gotra are you? You say, a Chuta Gotra. So, okay, so we got one more minute. Any questions or comments?
Prabhupada's, antipathy toward beards really speaks to the fact that he wanted to make sure his disciples stayed focused on him.
Yeah.
Rather than other gurus.
Yeah, and also it wasn't the idea of beards per se, it was the principle behind the beards. That's what Prabhupada said. He said, because you were against the principle. The beard is a detail, but the principle is that that's what Prabhupada didn't want, and the order of the spiritual master is the important thing. Okay, on that heavy note, hopefully no one listening got upset.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalem Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Jiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami 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 Govindam
Adi Purusham. Namahom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Uttame Srimate Bhaktivedanta Samini Namante Namaste, Swati Deve, Gauravani Vacha, Negi Sesha, Shunyavati, Matsachagati, Satarade. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jiya Dvaita Gadana Siva Sade Gaurvardhana. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ramanityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasade Gaurvardhana. Sade Gaurvardhana. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ramanityananda Advaita Gadadhara Sivasade Gaurvardhana. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Kati Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Kati Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Ram, looking na 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 na, looking na 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 na. Looking na na na, looking na na na. Hey, na 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 hey, Radhe Rane Jayate Jaya Radhe Jaya Sri Radhe Jaya Om Vishnu Paramahamsa
Yeah.